Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys again. Good to see everybody. Obviously, it's great to be back. We start up next week. We're excited. Got a lot of great competition ready to go. I think the guys are ready to get out and put the pads on and get back to playing football. And obviously, we got a lot of high expectations for a lot of young guys and a very young team that we got to get ready to play. So this is going to be a great 4 week window and really the entrance into phase two of what Coach Hoke talks about being the four phases of a program as you get ready for a season, and we're now entering phase two.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Andre.
Hey, Coach, is there one or two main focus areas that you have heading into spring camp, that you would love to come away from spring camp saying that you improved or completed?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think first and foremost, it's the development of our quarterback, and I think we got great competition there, and we're excited to see how all that plays itself out. And then I think the second biggest key is the development of our young offensive linemen and our young tight ends. We're an extremely young team, and I know Coach has mentioned that several times. And we are extremely young. We feel we've recruited well, and we feel we got some very talented individuals that need to now grow up and gain that game experience as fast as they can. And so I think those two areas, off the top right now, are the most important areas of development of our offense.
One of those young guys is Logan Tanner, who's a early enrollee. He's an explosive guy. Did a lot in high school catching the ball, and he's also admitted that he's got to improve his blocking. Where do you see him kind of fitting in as spring camp develops and you get into the fall?
Well, I mean, you got to remember both with him and Kyle Crum and Liu, they should be sitting in their second semester of their senior year in high school right now. And they're here, competing and learning how to perform at their next level and their next phases in their development. So, I really to learn how to play college football, the way that we play it, the Aztec way, and to learn how to be physical, like you talked about, the development of his blocking and being able to put his face in contact. Guys don't. You've been around us, a lot longer than I have. Guys don't survive in this program if they're not willing to put their faces in contact. So, we're excited about the athletic ability and the things he can do on the perimeter, and now it's going to be development of the next phases for him in terms of his development as a player.
And then with regards to the running backs, are you, in the past you've had one lead guy like Greg Bell, or before him, Jawan Washington and Penny and Pumphrey. Is your preference to have one lead guy and then have the guys kind of support that? Or would you do more of a committee where you could flip-flop every drive between multiple guys?
I think you look at the way we played a year ago, and I think when we were at our best running the football, and we had a lot of games where we ran the football very well, I think it's when we had a multiple attack of guys going in and out of the game. And I think of the Nevada game when Chance Bell came in and really ignited us to begin the second half on two or three of those runs and the change of pace that he had. You think of Air Force where we dominated that game in terms of time of possession and kept their offense off the field and kept their defense on the field and our offense on the field. And you think of coming out in that second half and the beginning of that drive where you had Chance and Jordan and Kagan Williams really starting to take the lead of that. So I think the different styles create different matchups that we can take advantage of. So we're excited to see them all play. We got some young guys, ready to go there, and it's going to be a big spring for somebody like Jalen Armstead, who now really needs to. He's one of those young guys that we're talking about. Really needs to step up and come into his own as a player now.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Andre. We'll go to Kirk.
Hi, Kirk. How you doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
How's the golf game? First off.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't played in about a month.
What? I thought you'd be out there every Monday.
No, other things going on.
I got you. You doing well?
I am doing well.
Good.
Can you go a little bit more into the quarterbacks, what each guy brings to the table?
Well, I think with Braxton, and I've had a chance to be around him now for about a month. I had a chance to watch every one of his games at Virginia Tech, and Braxton is an extremely athletic individual that's extremely tough. And when you watch him play, I just tell you, we're excited for what he's going to be able to accomplish here. Just from the standpoint, I think everything that he possesses is everything that we really need to take the next steps in that room as a quarterback. Will obviously is extremely talented, and I think over the past month you've really seen Will start to kind of become grounded both on the field and off the field. And I say that from the standpoint of everything that's being asked of him off the field and on the field. I think you see him starting to put it all together, and this is how you really become a high level college athlete regardless of positions. And so it's going to be a great competition between those two throughout the course of the spring. And then I think you got two young guys. Kyle Crum is extremely athletic. Almost to the point of coming out of high school and being very impressive with what he's been able to do just in the running aspect of what we've been able to be around. And he's got a mental toughness about him to be able to really walk out of high school, walk in here, and perform with the toughness that he's performed with. And then I think Liu's got a huge upside in terms of his development. He's a really young kid. He's really young, maturity-wise, from his body standpoint. This is really the first time where he's had, an organizational off-season program like what we have. So, I think you're just going to see him get better and better and better. But, coming off of film, he can really spin it and throw it.
With all there is to grasp going from high school to college, how unusual would it be for one of the freshmen to emerge from this as the starter?
Just like every other position, this is about competition. And that competition is about performance and how you perform every day and how you increase your performance every day. So I wouldn't find it odd. I wouldn't find it out of the norm at all. It just depends on how each one competes against the other one and how they perform. And it's going to come down to performance. I mean, that's every position in this program. The expectation is for the position. And the expectation is to compete against the other guys in your room to make the team the best it can be. And that's not going to change from quarterback, the offensive line, to tight end, running back, or wide receiver on our side of the ball. So, it's really going to be a fun 4 weeks here where we really now get to see each one of these guys grow.
With the quarterbacks you have in the room now, looking forward to the 2022 season, are there some things they bring to the table that would allow you to do some things differently on offense this year?
Well, hopefully we're as explosive early in the year, both as a balanced offense as we were in the bowl game, as we were against Boise State. Hopefully that trend continues. I think UNLV, where Jesse had the 3 touchdowns, it was the first time in how many years that we had a receiver catch for 3 touchdowns. I think you've seen, and believe me, it's frustrating to me that it's taken this long to get to this point, but I think with everything we've been through, and then, now finally getting the pieces to the puzzle, guys understanding how we are going to play. I'm hoping that all continues and we can continue that heading right into spring football, continue with that process of being able to dominate both, in the air and on the ground and balance each other out and then go win football games being balanced that way.
This program for more than a decade now has been known as a running team. Do you think this is the year that maybe finally starts to change a little bit?
Well, I look at it last year and I look at our progression last year and I look at our transformation. You look at being down 16-3, and I remember at one point in time you talked in one of your articles about being able to play from behind. And you look at Boise, we're down 16-3. We make a quarterback change, and now all of a sudden we're ignited throwing the football, and we're able to come back. And really from that point on, we dominated in that game in all 3 phases. You look at the bowl game and how we were able to really balance each other out and the success we had, throwing the football and the success that Lucas had throughout the course of that game. So I think it's been a progression. It's been a slower progression than I would have liked, than I think we all would have liked, than I think everybody in the program would have liked. But sometimes we have to continue just to work and push through to get us to that point. and hopefully we're at a point now where we can be balanced and really go into a game where now you have to defend both the run and the pass.
You guys are moving into a new stadium, and it's a time where you can kind of create some new identities in various ways. How important is it to have, that explosive offense, that exciting, 21st century kind of offense going into this new stadium, do you think, more so than any other year?
Well, I mean, I don't care if we're playing back in Carson or if you put us up in Alaska or put us in wherever you're going to put us. We're going to play the game. I think it's important to have an explosive offense in order to get to where we want to go. And that's to win the 22nd championship here at San Diego State. And to me, I take it very personal that we didn't win it. And, I look for the progression offensively in us being able to control the game with every game that we go into, whether that be some games it's going to be running the ball, some games it's going to be throwing the ball. But that progression now where we have that balance and you trust it every time you take the field, whether it's in Snapdragon Stadium or we're on the road, because, we've got 7 home games. We're going to have to win 5 road games now in order to win 22, and that's the ultimate goal.
I think we've talked about almost every area except for wide receivers. How do you see that group coming into the spring and then going forward?
Well, I mean, we have to do a great job of establishing Jesse Matthews and Terrell Shavers. I think both of them in the back half of the season really proved just how good they really are on the perimeter and how good that we can be when we operate together. And I think that's got to be the big push here, is now to get on the same page and operate together. So, we're always working in sync with one another, and that's a huge thing in the passing game, is to be in sync with one another. At times it just seemed like, early in the season, and it could have been because of the transition from Jordan to Lucas, back to Jordan, back to Lucas. It seemed like we got settled once we made the decision to go with Lucas at the end of the San Jose State game, and you can see things kind of start to come together and gel. We need to make that happen immediately now. So those two, the other thing I take very personal is my hope is coming out of this season that Jesse Matthews and Terrell Shavers are all-conference players, and to have an all-conference wide receiver, and to have guys that are recognized in that part of our game. We know we got strong offensive linemen. We know we're going to develop offensive line. We've always had good tight ends, and we got to develop now because of Daniel and Billy Dunkel and Zach Thomas not being there. We got to develop those young guys, but we know they're going to be there. Now it's about bringing the passing game into it and developing, hopefully what is an all-conference quarterback in some semblance, and an all-conference wide receiver, or 2 of them. And I think when you talk about the next phase of where we're headed, to me, that's the next phase. If we have Jesse Matthews, if we can get Jesse Matthews the production in the first 6 games that he had in the last, 6 to 7 games, I think, I don't know. I mean, when's the last time we had an all-conference wide receiver? Back when I was here in 9 and 10 with Vince Brown and DeMarco Sampson. I mean, Ezel Ruffin is a name that probably comes to my mind maybe. I know Colin Lockett had a lot of production. I don't know what happened at the end of the season with him when they made the transition there. So, I think in terms of that room, I think with Coach Cooper and all the work that he does with those guys, having 1 or 2 all-conference receivers come out of that room is going to be critical for us.